I'm just going to get right into it. We have wonderful storytellers tonight. The first one is Dave Morrison, who is a rock guitarist and one of my favorite poets. And for the past 2 years, the community has been lucky enough to have him manage this beautiful opera house, which he has greatly developed in its scope and accessibility. So thank you, Dave, and let's hear your story.
When I was 5 years old, I knew exactly who I was and what I was supposed to be doing. At the age of 5, I had a great certainty that I was put on the planet to be an undertaker. Not just any kind of undertaker, an animal undertaker. And I really was into it. I built a cemetery in our yard. And whenever any animal in the neighborhood died, they called my mom. But I was just a kid. I was young. I didn't understand life. I didn't know myself. Clearly, I needed a more realistic and sustainable path forward. And when I was 10, I knew that I was meant to be a professional boxer. And I trained. I ran up and down the street. I hit the speed bag in our basement. My father built a ring in our yard, and it was kind of a comfort to be young, but to know what I was going to do, except for the detail that I really didn't like to fight. And so began a lot of years of trying to figure out who I was and what I was supposed to do and what I was supposed to be. It didn't help that I struggled with school. I didn't enjoy school, and school didn't seem to enjoy me. The message I got from school was that the skills you needed to succeed in life were the same skills you needed to succeed in school. You had to do well at tests. You had to memorize facts and figures, and you had to follow directions. I wasn't good at any of these things. I did not feel much hope. I found myself an invisible and disaffected teenager slogging through the knee-deep jello that was high school when I was visited by a cliche that was so obvious and so threadbare that I don't know how I didn't see it coming. I bought a $50 electric guitar. And I was struck by lightning, and the scales fell from my eyes, and suddenly everything made sense, and everything was clear. Of course I suck at school. I'm not supposed to be in school. I'm supposed to be in a bar, in a band, playing guitar. So that's what I did. At age 17, I manifested it. I made it so. And for the next 20 years, I worked really hard at being a professional musician. But the killer instinct that I lacked as a boxer, I also lacked as a musician. I lost my way. I lost my reason. I lost my joy. I got tired, and I got discouraged, and I finally couldn't do it anymore. And this was a crushing disappointment because I felt like I've worked so hard and I have nothing to show for it. Excuse me. But it turned out I did have something to show for it. I had stories. And then it struck me, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a memoirist. I'll tell my stories. And so I began to, but then the stories all had this whiff of disappointment and neediness and resentfulness. And I thought, I don't want to be that guy. And then I got it. I'm supposed to write fiction. I'm supposed to be a novelist. That's why I'm here. Fiction is a much better framework to use. But I discovered that to write a novel is really hard. And it takes a long time. And it takes an enormous amount of focus and dedication. And that's how I learned that I was really meant to be a short story writer. So I did. But I discovered that as a short story writer, you spend the bulk of your time staring at the mailbox. And then, finally, it dawned on me. Poetry. Poems can be long or short. If there's rules, I can break them. I already have a poet's heart. I'm already a drinker. All I need is an interesting hat. That would be my livelihood. I would support myself through poetry. I left you a space for a laugh line. Thank you. So anyway, let me wrap this up. Every plan I ever made failed. Every expectation I had for myself or what my life would be like didn't come to pass. But look around. Look around. Look at this beautiful Victorian opera house, blocks from the ocean. This is what I do. I manage this. I have stumbled into a job that uses all of my mismatched skills. I'm happy and I'm peaceful, mostly, for maybe the first time in my life. So, if I could offer you anything tonight, based on my own experience, it would be this. Sometimes, in order to find your way, you have to get lost. Thank you.